All of the Zenworks 11 products include Zenworks reporting services. This solution is based on the Business Object Enterprise business intelligence solution that allows you to look at just about every facet of the Zenworks system. Some good examples here, looking at the ZRS main page, are the Bundles and Policies report. This takes care of telling you the enforcement status as well as the deployment status of each. So if I take a look at the Policy Enforcement Details by Device report, you'll see here I get a list of each of the devices and each of the policies. So here's this policy, the Home and Admin SLED11 SP1 repos policy, and each of the devices that have applied that policy. If I go to the next page, here's my corporate power policy, so you can see that those were successfully applied, so on and so forth. For bundles, I can go ahead and run the bundle deployment details devices. And here you'll see the same basic report, only this time for bundles. Here you'll see that for this bundle, this device, JBlackett1, has a successful deployment status, and then it breaks it down to the individual action set statuses as well. So you see the distribution was successful, the install was successful, and it hasn't run a launch. If one of these said failed, then you could click on that, and it will bring up a filtered version of the Bundle Deployment Details report, looking specifically at the Install Details tab, where you would then have a probable cause of the installation failure. On the patch management side, you also have the ability to run similar reports with the ZRS product. So I can go under Patch Management here, and you'll be able to take a look at Critical Patch Status Report, for instance. This report shows me the overall status of critical patches in my environment. Here you can see it's broken down by manufacturer. So there are 53 critical Adobe patches in my system. Of those, a third of them are patched, so on and so forth. Another interesting report is the Patch Assessment Report. This is going to be the one that tells you where each of your devices are at. Here you can see the patch count and how that breaks down to critical, recommended, and software. You can see the majority are recommended patches, then critical. You can also see how they break down by vendor. Obviously, the vast majority of them come from this line here, which is Red Hat, and then you have Novell. And then you get the individual details for each of those. From there, you can then see here's the number of devices, whether they're applicable, patched, or not patched. One of the nice things that ZRS offers is this filter toolbar. Once you add the filter toolbar, anything that's been used in the report can be added as a filter by simply coming in and adding it to the bar. So I can now say, I'm only interested in Microsoft patches in this report. And now you'll see everything drops to a smaller number. You can see that for Microsoft, critical is the highest percentage versus software installers and then recommended. And you can see the number of patches available and then the status for each of the Microsoft patches as well. In addition to having the canned reports, you also have the ability to create custom reports. To create a custom report, you simply create a new Web Intelligence document. And when you go into the Web Intelligence document, it's a matter of drag and drop to build your report. So if I wanted, for instance, to build a simple report that gave me information about the machine name, as well as some information about what the operating system it's running is, as well as maybe the CPU in the machine. So how many CPUs are there? How fast are they and what are they? I can say run. And I now have a report that I can put in here. I can also easily add charts and graphs by coming in and selecting a chart or a graph, bringing it in, and then selecting the appropriate categories. So for instance, in this case, I might want to create a chart that gave me the breakdown of CPU product names. To do this, the first thing I would need to do is actually create a variable that counts the number of unique devices in this table. So we can create a variable called total devices, and we'll simply drag and drop our query. So we want to find the count query, and we want to count the machine names. That will give us how many machines there are total in the setup. We'll say OK. We now have this named variable called total devices. To create a chart then, we can simply drag the pie into our report, and we can then select the axes that we want. So for the y-axis, we want the total devices, and then we want to have the pie slices show us the CPU product name. We'll say OK, and you can see we now have our pie chart. We can then rearrange the report so that it looks nice, and then we also can print out the report and give it to the boss or whatever the case may be. Additionally, you can export these reports using the zman command so that you can share them with others, both inside and outside of your company. You can also schedule these reports to be run and automatically email the output to you in either a PDF format, a link back to the web console, or as a CSV file or Excel spreadsheet. So using Zenworks reporting services, you can quickly build reports to get useful information to help you make decisions about purchasing, about policies that you need to enforce, about how things are going in the system, basically about almost any facet of the Zenworks system.